The other day, I was rapping with a partner of mine, real good Christian cat, pastor, matter of fact, and he told me to whom much is given, much is required, and with great power come great responsibility. I told him, I could just go off what I've been through, I don't know where I'm going, but I do know where so far, came so hard. The journey makes you smart, and I've learned so much since then. I tell them I'm doing fine, even though I'm doing bad. They got problems of their own, I don't wanna add to that. Me okay, imagine that, it's just a magic act. I play hurt and don't cry, and they act mad at that. Left on foot, came back in the Benz. Money don't make me happy, you believe it, so I pretend. Any man living like me, I commend. The situation I'm in is better than the pen. The pen is powerful, the voice is a weapon, the brain is a machine. If you've been gifted, you've been cursed, but it could be worse. Lost contact with those who loved me first. I can't find my place, but I diligently search. Don't grunt, don't groan, but it definitely hurts. Came to find out, prayer definitely works. Too worried about the world, not concerned with the earth. And I don't know where I'm going, but I do know where I've been. Came so far, came so hard. The journey makes you smart, and I've learned so much since then. I got pain, hydrocodone, don't work on. Percocet won't touch it, Oxycontin can't budget. The pain of dealing with the dirt that I've done. Mamas in trauma, crying over their sons. The good girls that I turned bad, I think about where they at. I was wrong for that, I repent for my sins, but I'm so far gone, I can't remember them all. Can y'all? Talking to my oldest, I made her put it on the pinky. Never let anyone separate you from Kiki. Y'all sisters, you gon' need each other. When I'm gone, you'll still see me and each other. Stick with one another. The world is a bit overwhelming. You need all the help you can get. Someday you'll be one another's bridesmaid, sitting on the porch watching y'all kids play. I don't know where I'm going, but I do know where I've been. Came so far, came so hard. The journey makes you smart, and I've learned so much since then. My wife's so tolerant, talk about heaven sent. Took her through some places that she should've never been. Put her through some things she never should've went through. She done did a lot for me that she didn't have to. Argue, but a lot of times I do it out of love, cause you don't stand a chance here if you're not tough. She gullible, I find that lovable, cause gullibility for me was over in my teens. She my motivation. They say behind every good man, if you look you'll find a good woman. Well, there she go right there with the prom queen face and the Pantene hair. She believes in the dreams that a lot of women laughed off. Knows when to keep on, knows when to back off. So hard that she gotta be soft. I got a beautiful lady and she make beautiful babies. And I don't know where I'm going, but I do know where I've been. Came so far, came so hard. The journey makes you smart, and I've learned so much since then.
Yeah, so you want to hear about that time I tried to start a fake art business?
A what?
A fake art business?
More than the usual fakery in art.
I think it was inspired by the usual fakery. I've had a lot to play in my downward spiral, and I've wanted to tell this story for a while, but it's one of those, if I told it too early on, I feel like I would have lost people's trust. But,
Dude, I'm in politics. I'm used to liars.
Well, we're gonna expose some liars, but I think that starts with exposing ourselves. Fuck. So at this point, I'm drinking every day. I'm like 4 oldies deep. Cocaine, ketamine, pills, psychedelics more often than not. This is about the point the shadows are starting to come out of shit, and aren't going so well. And I'm working in an office at that point, and we had Microsoft Office Word on the computer. And I was fucking with different shit, but you know, I was point in my life where I'm so intoxicated, I can't hold a pencil, I can't do any art, I can't do anything. And a lot of it's because I lack the creativity and the willpower to do so. I thought that the drugs and the alcohol were going to be my inspiration, and that's how you got the cool shit. I mean, post all of it, yeah, it's kind of helped out, but it's like, it's more of the trauma that came with that inspires the cool shit you learn. But, so I started fucking with different filters for different photos that I fucked with minorly, with different like Microsoft Word filters. So you can give it like an oil effect, and then you can make it look like it was on a canvas. And then I'd print it out, and then I'd fuck with it a little more, and then I'd run it through some of the filters again. And then you'd have something kind of neat. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because there was a little bit of personal creativity to that. Until the drinking and the drugs got worse, and then you're just like losing your mind, and you can't think of anything to do. And you're posting all this shit on Instagram day in and day out, and day in and day out, and day in and day out. And I called it, this is how good cognitive dissonance works, because I forced myself to believe that this was all true, and that I was really like, I had to believe the lie, right? The name of my shop was the Acidic Tricks Bazaar. As in the tricks the acid was playing on my mind as I was trying to sell things in a shop online. And there was pieces in there that were creative, that were unique, that I came up with some wild shit, and a lot of it was just like, that looks cool on Instagram, give it a black background, and slap a filter. And the thing that kind of went along with that was people believed it. And the equivalent of my art was, you know, now I have use for it my thumbnails. A lot of it was really representative of what the thumbnails looked like. Like that, at its best, it might have looked like that Statue of Liberty thumbnail I did. At worst, it was just literally black background filter. And, you know, it always had that, a lot of the time it had that black and neon shit. I tried to do some light touches, but for the most part, I was stealing other people's art, and I was trying to pawn it off as my own and convince myself and others that it was. The problem is that I was so intoxicated and retarded, I couldn't make an actual sale. The only time that I ever was able to get anything off was to some street drug dealers who might trade me something that I printed off in a printer for some pills and a line of coke. Which made me feel very low about life, because it's like, shit. You know, I still had all these conversations and shit, and like I was still like trying to make sales in the moment, because that's how fucking far I was gone. But yeah, I couldn't make anything happen. The most I ever made in cash maybe was $20, maybe. So it's like I spent all this time lying day in and day out, tricking myself, tricking people on Instagram, wanting to be this great artist, you know, even sending it to people like back down in Texas. I was like, look what I did, look what I did. I didn't do that shit. It was so weird. And it just made everything past that feel like imposter syndrome. You know, when I did start to tattooing again, it was just like, I felt like I never left that, you know, to where I have to be like, that's like a lot of what I do rely on now is collaging. And it's crazy because a lot of the things that I learned in that, I actually can use in art now to do something more real. And I like actually learned things with those tools. And I realized now I was just applying them wrong and essentially cheating and lying. But it's like, the thing is, the reason I felt like I could do it too is like I was seeing a lot of other people doing it on Instagram too. It's a very common thing. I just did it better minus the sales aspect. But it was a lie. It was a scam.
Well, it is the predictable kind of scam of someone with a little bit of creativity, a little bit of energy, and not a lot of experience with just how hard these things are and intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, given your family background, I can't imagine you had a lot of reminders of just how detailed and how protective people are of their own work.
No, that's not true. That's where a lot of the guilt came in, right?
Oh,
My uncle, yeah. So my uncle who did the tattoo on my arm, he was one of the top 5 black and gray portrait artists for tattooing in the United States of America for a couple years there, I'm pretty sure. He's gone to Germany, Canada, Colombia, all over the world, tattooed all sorts of different celebrities, smoked weed with Wiz Khalifa. He's fucking, he's got like human skulls in his fucking shop that he got from fucking Germany, man. Like giant, magnificent oil Renaissance paintings. Like, dude is a fucking master. And I think I was trying to bullshit him. And I think I knew I couldn't bullshit him because, like, even my dad told me once upon a time, he's just like, yeah, me and your uncle just used to sit online and go through different websites, and we would just call out motherfuckers stealing different people's tattoos or designs, being like, we know that's not yours. So I know they were probably sitting there, like, looking at my shit, being like, yeah, he's losing it.
okay. A sense of imposter syndrome would be absolutely justified.
Yep. That's the thing, is it's not unjustified, and it sucks too, because it's like my uncle's like my hero, artistically speaking. It's like I always wanted to be like him. I always wanted to pull off a portrait like that, and still do. Like, still doing amazing work. He almost got to tattoo Blair White about a year back ago, and that's one thing that, like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And she like backed out of the tattoo, but I didn't know that for like 7 or 8 months, and the whole time I was just like, my uncle tattooed Blair White. Michael tattooed Blair White, and I thought it was just the coolest shit, and it kind of like helped get my shit together. Like, well, fuck, you need to work on your art. You need to work on your podcast too, because like, what a cool opportunity. What if you could have opportunities like that? But yeah, it's just like that fakery in the face of that authenticity. It didn't feel good. It did not feel good, nor should it have. But there's a lot of fakeness in this world, but it's the degree to which people believed me.
That's probably the biggest surprise I had. So, there are lies. There are obvious lies. There are calculated lies. There are lies to distract. But what surprised me the most was the lies that people told themselves, and they believed it. And those are probably the most destructive ones.
And the thing too is, like, part of me wonders, it's like, how many people didn't believe me and they were just too scared to say anything?
I would assume that would include, well, didn't want to hurt your feelings or too scared?
Both. Which, I mean, is kind of like, I'm thinking that in terms of everything else going on right now with race and gender and all the politics under the sun. It's like, how much bullshit's just going on that we're just like, tight-lipped.
Airbnb is really disrupting real estate. And I know a lot about real estate. I just did a little fake business. Now, you know that I do this. A lot of the audience don't know that I do. I do fake business. I call up realtors all day when I'm bored, and I pretend I'm a realtor and that my client is very interested in their property, and I ask them lots of questions about their property. I just did it with a commercial property on Palm Canyon Drive. I said, hey, this is Tim. I have a client of investor that's really interested in the property. What are we looking at per square foot? And what are some of the local restrictions we should know about? And, these whole things, they go into this whole thing. They go, well, they don't want a coffee shop in there because Starbucks, there's a competing business clause. So Starbucks doesn't want a coffee shop. This is how the corporate takeover of America is, by the way, because when Starbucks moves into an area, they go, yeah, we don't want some independent coffee shop opening. Not all areas, but a lot of them. We don't need somebody slinging lattes for less than we are. So the guy goes, well, there's a Sprint store, so we can't do a competing business, blah, blah, blah. And we talked about it. There's a lot of parking behind. I said, thank you. I said, I have an investor, but he's very concerned about, the competing business clause and everything like that. And I was on the phone with this guy for about 10 minutes. And he said to me, oh, Tim, that's cruel. Their time has value. No, it doesn't. And I will continue to do fake business because I like doing fake business. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like to call people and I like to lie about who I am and what I do. And then I like to see how they conduct business because on their end, they're conducting real business. I'm conducting fake business. Now, never the two shall meet. We've gotten to the point where one of my clients who doesn't exist was almost going to put an offer on a house. This was last week. I've been on the phone with this realtor for like 45 minutes, 3 times in a row. I've had to block her finally. She doesn't know what happened. Sometimes I have to block the people because fake business gets very intense. Fake business, people start drawing up contracts. I mean, she was calling appraisers. She was going to have inspections done. I was representing a very motivated overseas client. Now, sadly, that client died of coronavirus before we could go see the property. That's not my fault. And I tried to explain that to her, but she was kind of confused and started saying, oh, this, blah, blah, blah. Are you real? Is this real? Cops, FBI, whatever, blah, 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 blocked. I'm helping train these professionals. Do you understand? Yes or yes? By calling them, people need practice. So this schmuck over there on Palm Canyon, I did use my real name, by the way. Like, this is Tim Dillon. And sometimes I make up a firm name. Sometimes I use a real firm name. Sometimes I just say, this is Tim Dillon with Futures. He goes, what? And I go, Futures Investment? And he goes, okay. You just go, okay. You go, yeah, all right. I go, yeah, you got a commercial listing on Palm Canyon on the corner. I'm wondering what we're looking at price per square foot. What's the parking in the area like? What's the competing business clause? Any local restrictions we should know about? I have a team of investors that are looking to expand into this area. Many of them, sometimes it's a franchise, sometimes not. But I'm just, it's an investment group. They're very interested. They love the visibility of the location. Oh, he goes, it's a great location. So they love the visibility of the location. And see, right there, we're beginning to do fake business. Because then he goes to his wife and he goes, hey, I just got a call from a guy that may be interested in this. And then he tells his secretary, and then he tells his partner. So I'm in, and I'll give him a follow-up call later tonight. I'll have 10 more bullet point questions before I bring my investors. And I do this. Now, a lot of people, I was explaining to someone at dinner that I do this. And he goes, it's horrible. I said, why? Doing fake business. They go, why? I said, I like doing it. So I don't have a real estate license and I can't do real business, but I at least can do fake business. They said, that's pretty sick. I said, maybe you're sick because I want realtors to get the best professional. You golf a lot, right? Mm-hmm. When you golf every day, are you better at it?
Yes, absolutely.
Now that doesn't matter. Now, even that includes going to a driving range.
Sure.
Right. Correct.
Right.
Sometimes I see golfers swing clubs in their backyard.
Mm-hmm. Helps.
Doesn't matter if it's real or fake. What matters is that this guy's going through the next guy to call him might be real. But I'm going to beat that guy out. I'm going to do a competitive offer because I conduct fake business well. And many people don't. A lot of people do things. People go on fake diets. I've done a ton of them. People do all kinds of things that aren't real. People are fake comedians. Mm-hmm. They pretend to be a comedian for a decade and impoverish themselves and live on a floor and walk dogs. Fine. That's all. When you go home to your family for Thanksgiving and you go, I'm a comedian, they're eating and they're like, no, you're not. You're a pretend comedian. You're a fake comedian. Right. I am a fake real estate investor and I will continue to do fake business. So if you get a call from a guy that sounds like me, just be forewarned. The deal's not closing. I have an interest in presenting myself. I have a lot of clients when I do fake business. They're very busy. Many of them are overseas. They cannot handle. I mean, we should probably get the phone, do a little fake business right now. Maybe we get our phone. Can you get the phone? Let's do a little fake business. Because I don't think people understand what I bring to the table and how good I really am. Do you have is that my phone? Yeah. Let me call this guy back. How do we get him in the Roadcaster? Is he in the Roadcaster?
Yeah, we'll get him in.
Hello?
Hey, Adam, Tim Dillon, how are you? We spoke about the property on Palm Canyon a few minutes ago.
Yeah, hey, Tim. How's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you? I wanted to know if there's a list of the competing clause. My client's asking me if there's a list of businesses, whether it's Starbucks, Sprint, things like that, that we could kind of figure out what the restrictions are, just so I could kind of email that to them because he wants to show it to his investors, if that's possible. Also, is there a way they can get out to see the property maybe later in the week?
Yeah. I live about 4 minutes from it, so not too difficult. that, and I will just go to the center right now and send you a quick list of all of the businesses that are in there already.
I would appreciate that. Let me ask you a question too. How long has this property been on the market? I haven't looked it up yet.
Yeah, I've been marketing it for maybe, I think I just signed it like right when COVID hit, and then I delayed it for like 2 or 3 months. So I'd say maybe like 2 or 3 months now.
Okay, and before you had it, was it sitting there for a while or no? They always like to know these things.
Yeah, I know Banner Mattress was there up until recently.
Okay.
So I know there's a mattress firm like right across the street.
Yeah, I saw that. Would this be a 5-year lease or what are they looking for in terms of commitment?
Yeah, it really just depends on the tenant and the rate and things like that. Obviously, the longer the commitment, the better we can do on the rate. But I think they're open right now.
Okay, and I imagine
minimum 5 years.
I imagine they're open to some form of negotiation given the climate.
Of course.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
We're here to do deals.
Yeah, me too. But me too. It's a little wild out there, Are you guys mainly commercial? You do any residential?
I do a bit of both.
Okay, good. Yeah,
you got to be kind of a generalist out here. So.
I agree. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to get interested in this area, and I think it's because LA's had a lot of problems, and a lot of my clients. I do business primarily in Los Angeles, and a lot of people are starting to look at this area, and a lot of them are excited about maybe jumping into something here, because the high season. I imagine it's January through June.
January through April is our high season.
Right.
But pretty much like right now, like September through April, so we kind of have like a shoulder mid-season, which is September through December.
Right.
And then January through April just crushes, and then Coachella is obviously and Stagecoach are in April, and that kind of, and we have Memorial Day weekend, July 4th, even during the summer, we do pretty well.
Of course, I appreciate that. Well, listen, I have you guys. I have your website. I'm going to shoot you an email, just again introducing myself, and then if you could just get me a list of some of those competing business clauses, just so I can show it to them, and hopefully they'll get out to see it sometime next week. They're super interested. One of them lives out here in Rancho, and they pass it all the time. So they had me just kind of reach out to you and see what was going on. But they're pretty motivated. And again, I think it's all about, how restrictive those clauses are.
Yeah, I think they're going to be pretty flexible. So I'll shoot you the businesses.
Yes.
And we'll see if we can do something, okay?
I appreciate it, Adam. Thanks a lot for your time.
All right, thank you.
So it's fake business, and I'm doing it well. Let's be honest. I'm doing it well. I'm protecting the interests of my clients. Am I not? Am I not protecting the interests of my clients when I conduct fake business? My fake clients are important and they need to be protected. I want them to have the maximum amount of freedom in any given situation. You understand? Start doing fake business. It'll change your life. I'm telling you that right now. Start doing it. No one can stop. You don't need a license. You just need a phone and a computer, and you can start doing fake business. Set up a fake email address. I have one. Start doing fake business right now. It's the gateway to real business. Are you bored? Are you sitting around at home? You don't know what to do? Build a fake empire of whatever business you choose. You don't need any type of license to do this. You can just call people and be the person you've always been meant to be. I think I've always meant to be sort of a rainmaker, putting together deals, guy with a six-pack and a huge cock, fucking people of every gender, doesn't matter, maybe connected to intelligence, maybe not, power broker type of guy. And that's what now, of course, I'm not that. I'm negotiating commercial real estate mattress transactions in Rancho Mirage. It doesn't always, fake business doesn't always work out the way you want it to. I want it to be fake CIA. I can't do that. But I'm a fake realtor in the fucking desert. Even your fake life will not be as great. You see? Even in my pretend life, I'm just a shitty realtor looking to sniff out a buck. But I know who I am. I know who I am in my real life and my fake life, and that's what's the most important thing. Set the expectations for your fake business high but reasonable. This is my advice to you. Gary Vaynerchuk tells you to start a real business. Oh, I say no. I say start a fake one. Start a pretend business. You can do everything that you will do in a real business. There's much less risk. Sure, these people get upset after a while after you've called them 17 or 18 times. You have to make up stories about what happened to your investor, why he didn't show up to the showing. You were in the hospital. It's easy to do. I'm just telling you it's important. Oh, Tim, these people's time is valuable. No, it's not. No, it's not. They love it. All they do all day is talk to 90 people. One of them signs a contract. I'm one of the fake people. Until the contract is signed, all business for intents and purposes is fake business. And I am one of the best. And that's what I've been doing here to keep myself sane. I mean, right now I'm negotiating a strip mall in Connecticut. You see? That's much more, it's much more complex because there's many different storefronts. You see? See what I mean? As you get better at fake business, you have to start looking things up. You got to know tax numbers. You got to know profit and loss. I mean, you got to really know your stuff. If you want to start talking to I have some real deal people I talk to. They're legit. They make real money. And they think I'm a realtor. You know? They think I represent an investment group. So that's what I think you should do. If I had to choose how you spend your time, it would be that.
We are here with Tye Harris. Tye, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what tattoo shop you work at? Basic information.
Well, I'm from Texas, kind of all over Texas. I've just kind of always bounced around since I was a teenager. My shop's in Kyle, Texas, Faces in the Dark.
How long has it been opened?
About 1.5 years now.
What kind of crew do you have there?
Really good crew. All kinds of different styles. Most people there lean towards black and gray realism, so, you know, I mean, I guess naturally, working for me, that's where everybody kind of leans towards, but...
you are located in Kyle, Texas, not really a town that very many people know. Why did you choose Kyle, Texas?
I lived there for about 5 years while I was just traveling, doing conventions, guest spots, and yeah, it came time to open a shop. It just seemed like the place to be, you know. I like small towns.
What's it like you tattooed in New York City for a long time, right?
Yeah.
What's it like going from a place like New York City, such a big city, to such a small town?
Amazing.
Is it harder to find the client, or is your clientele willing to travel to?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, the clients, and that's another reason I opened up in Kyle is, you know, I didn't need to be in a big city. I don't need walk by traffic. I don't need you know, all these things that you kind of need to open a shop, because I was already established, thank God, because of Facebook. Okay. You know?
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
I like the small town living.
Did you own your own shop in New York City?
I just traveled up there, just doing pretty much just tattooed out of my apartment.
Yeah.
You know, up in Brooklyn, and then I did some guest spots at my buddy Bang Bang's shop, and then now I go up there and guest spot at No Idols.
Okay, that's a great shop to go to.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
that's
killer, man, killer crew.
That has a great group of guys there. John Mesa.
Oh yeah. They're all so good up there.
Yeah, exactly. We're a big fan of that shop. You've tattooed all over the world.
Oh yeah.
What are some of your favorite places to go to?
Hawaii for sure is my favorite. That's my favorite place to go. It's where I'm gonna end up one day.
Okay, very exciting. So we were at Tattoo Lose weekend. What did you work on, and how did you enjoy the convention?
The convention was great, man. LT killed it. As far as promoting the show and getting clients and getting people in the door, and I mean, taking care of the artists with the artist lounge, and you know, the breakfast every day and the lunch, and I mean, it was just really on point, man. Super impressed with the show. On the tattoos I did, Friday I did like a cool video game piece from The Evil Within. What did I do yesterday was a cool Clint Eastwood tattoo. Yeah, Clint Eastwood. And today was Lion with a Crown, classic Tye.
Yep, exactly. I was gonna say I saw the piece today and it just screams your name.
Yeah, big cats.
Do you have any advice for clients looking to get portrait work from you?
Be kind of open, you know. don't have your heart set on, I have to have it this way in this photo. You know, like the best thing you can do with getting a portrait is bring 5 to 10 really clear photos that you'd be willing to wear forever, and let the artist pick, you know?
Do you have any advice for up-and-coming tattoo artists that are similar, that look up to you as a mentor?
Stay humble.
Yeah.
You know, it's the best thing you can do. Just stay humble, you know? It's the biggest thing I see with young tattooers. Just kind of want to get ahead of themselves, you know?
How much time do you spend with the change of technology? A lot of artists are moving to a digital format.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend on a digital platform versus pen and paper still?
I mean, I still use hand stencils. I'm not one of these iPad guys. You know, I don't use like digital stencils or nothing like that.
Have you looked into it at all?
I got the iPad and I've tried it. You know, I think it's really good for designing things. As far as like making stencils, it's not for me. Zooming in, I just start marking off too many things. You know, I do use a lot of Photoshop. I design every single tattoo with Photoshop. Okay. And I've only been doing that for maybe 6 years, so it's definitely been a crazy improvement from the first 6 years to the last 6 years. You know?
So do you typically go on, so I know a lot of artists use Google references all the time. Do you typically go on to Google and find references and throw those into Photoshop and mock them up, or what do you do?
I mean,
how's your design process?
It kind of depends, you know. I mean, if they want a portrait, not really much designing going into it. I mean, something a little more unique. I usually just try to, because everybody's pulling shit off of Google, you know. I mean, you can take it and go, oh, I'm gonna make it different, or I'm gonna do it my way. Someone's still done that tattoo 1,000 times. Yeah. So I think it's super important to find 5, 6 references, blend them together, you know, and just make a new photo, you know. So you still have all these really good high resolution photos, and there are other websites like depositphotos.com, Shutterstock.
Shutterstock.
Yeah. Really good websites, and they have subscriptions now where you can do like $30 a month and you can get whatever you want on there. A lot of cool shit that's not on Google, you know. So yeah, I think a lot of people use Google maybe a little bit too much. It's kind of the new wall of flesh.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
What else are you into besides tattooing?
Man, I like playing video games when I have time. I tattoo like 28 days a month, so I don't have a lot of time to really do anything else, you know? Me and Becca, we love traveling. It's the best thing that I ever get to do for sure, is just take some time off and hit a beach somewhere.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I've heard a rumor that you are in the Insane Clown Posse quite a bit. I heard that you're actually a juggalo, but can you talk about your fascination with Insane Clown Posse and how it kind of evolved your tattoo career?
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. You know, I was just 13 years old, just like I guess any other juggalo from the 90s. You know what I mean? Just this kind of weird, awkward kid, and didn't really know what kind of music I liked or what kind of crowd to fit into. And yeah, I just really liked ICP. It was just goofy, stupid music. You know, I liked it. Yeah. I'm just kind of a goofy, stupid dude, so it worked for me. And then I hadn't seen my brother in like 5 years, and then he came down back to Texas. And I didn't really know him at this point. I was 13, you know, I hadn't seen him since I was 8. Yeah. And all he had in his CD case was just ICP. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, you're a juggalo, I'm a juggalo. So it's cool. And then like one night he came home and he's like, are you going to be real mad at me, bro? And he pulled up his pant leg and there was a Hatchet Man tattoo. And the Hatchet Man's, you know, the logo for their record label. And I was so fucking mad that he did that without me, you know? So I went right out the next day and I
got
my own for $10 from this dude at the house, you know, and then I went back the next day, and the next day I went back every day for about 10 days. Ooh. And yeah, just single needle, homemade scratcher shit. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my legs are just covered in ICP tattoos.
Those aren't as bad as I was expecting.
All around. Yeah, I mean, they could have been way worse.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's funny.
But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how I just kind of got obsessed with tattoos, which is this brotherly competition.
It's an interesting story because I've heard it from, I don't remember what artist I heard it from, but they did say like, oh, you know, Tye Harris is a juggalo. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And they're like, no. I was like, okay, well, if I ever talk to him, I gotta hear the story behind it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that definitely fueled the tattooing, you know, because he was like, oh, you got how many? And then he'd go get one. It was a competition. You know, this other guy in town liked ICP. Then he's like, oh, you ain't gonna get more ICP tattoos than me.
Have you ever met the guys from ICP?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, a bunch of times.
Have you showed them your leg?
I haven't. My buddy
They would
showed
probably
him.
find it hilarious.
My buddy has like 2 full sleeves, his whole chest,
Yeah.
both legs, his back, his whole body with the same guy, the single needle kind of scratcher stuff, and he showed ICP, and they were a little bit uncomfortable with how many ICP tattoos he had. So I was like,
That's
I don't
hilarious.
need to show him.
One of my favorite photos of you is with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Where did you meet Ric Flair at?
Man, another crazy thing about tattooing, dude. Like, when I was like 10 years old, 11, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I mean, until I was 17, 18. Like, it was a passion. I really fucking loved it. I wanted to be a professional wrestler. And, you know, it is being 17, 18.
Yeah. Yep.
Life happened,
Yep.
went in crazy directions, ended up being a tattooer. Flash forward 13 years. This singer, Skylar Gray, hits me up for a tattoo. She's signed to Shady Records. You know, she's written a lot of real famous songs, and she started getting tattooed from me. We started talking about, you know, interest and this and that, and she heard I was a wrestling fan back in the day. And well, it just turns out the next year the WWE asked her to do the halftime show at WrestleMania.
Interesting.
So she messaged me and she's like, "Hey, do you want to go to WrestleMania?" And I was like, "Well, fuck yeah!" So like, she got them to get us a hotel room, and like they got us backstage passes and front row tickets, and I mean, we showed up the day before it happened, and they were setting up the stage, and you know all this. They came to me specifically, and they're like, "We were told to tell you specifically, do not take pictures of anything back here." You know, they just knew I was a fan. And we're walking out there, and they're setting up the stage. They're testing the pyro.
Yeah.
Travis Barker's doing his like solo rehearsal and shit. It's crazy, mind blowing. So they're testing the pyro, and I'm like standing by the ring. I'm like, oh, they're going up there. So I start walking up the ramp, and then boom, they're testing the pyro. Fucking WrestleMania, big as fuck, lights going off. The ring's behind me. I'm on the ramp, and I turned around and looked at the ring. The pyro's going off behind me, and I just put my hands up. You know, I was like, I'm on the fucking stage of WrestleMania with pyro. Like, this was like my childhood dream. You know, like most people that actually become professional wrestlers will never get to stand where I stood. You know?
Yeah.
So it was mind blowing that tattooing took me all the way back to that, and I achieved that, not even knowing that this would bring me there.
Oh.
So it was a trip. And then I run into Ric Flair backstage, and I was like, dude, I gotta get a photo.
I was going through your Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I saw the picture of Ric Flair, and I was like, I wonder where he met him at. I wasn't sure if it was a meet and greet, but
I just backstage at WrestleMania. Skylar, she asked me, what's what are you most excited about? I was like, I just want to talk to the Undertaker.
Did you talk to the Undertaker?
Did.
Yeah.
He said he wants a couple portraits. He lives like 15 minutes from me.
I knew he lived in
which is
Texas.
crazy. I thought he
Yeah.
lived in Houston, but he's really close to Austin. And then I said, I just want to get a picture of Ric Flair. So like, we saw Ric Flair leave and had his Gucci bag and his little fucking hot bitch on his side and his suit.
Did you watch the Ric Flair document, the 30 for 30
Oh, it
documentary?
was so good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Made me tear up a couple times. Love that man.
It was very interesting to hear the stories behind his family life, but then the actual professional world life.
Yeah. It seems like most of those dudes really get sucked into a world they didn't expect.
Yeah, a world of partying.
Yeah.
The story of him talking to his therapist, or the about when he quit drinking.
Oh, yeah.
He hadn't quit drinking for like years, and the therapist was like, "You should be dead." And he's like, "Well, I'm not dead."
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's like, oh, you're lying to me. There's no way you drink that much
I
every
apparently
day.
have to go to WrestleMania at some point. I've never been, but
You have
I
to,
need
man.
to. I've heard so many fun stories from there.
It's insane, man. That day of WrestleMania will probably always be one of the greatest days of my life.
That's
It was dude, I mean, we got there, it's early, like, oh, let's go get some food. So we go in there to the cafeteria. All these dudes are like in their fucking tights, and they're like, they're ready to go, you know what I mean? But they're all getting fucking Lucky Charms, and they got their eggs and their pancakes, and we sit down, I sit at this table, and there's the entire NWO. There's Hulk Hogan, there's Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, there's DX, there's Ric Flair, there's fucking Pat Patterson, all Vince McMahon's walking through. Like, I didn't even eat, I just sat there like this. Just looking at these guys. It was awesome, man. I felt like I was 12 years old again.
All right, back to tattooing.
Yeah.
A few more tattooing questions. Do you have any artists that you really look up to that you don't think get enough credit in the industry?
Man, I mean, I think everybody that's killing it right now, thanks to Instagram, I don't think it takes long. I think people are getting recognized real quick. It's a weird time in the industry.
Yeah, definitely.
You could be tattooing for a year and suck for 9 months, and then you get it.
Take off. Yep.
And then at a year and 2 months, you're famous. You're insta famous, and you're booked, and you're charging whatever you want. You know what I mean? So it's. I mean, I can't even honestly really think of any. I think everyone that I think is killing it is getting recognition for it. You know, someone told me a long time ago, good art doesn't go unrecognized, and it's very true. You know, I don't think there's anybody out there that's on that level that's no one's really looking at, unless they just refuse to kind of put themselves out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. So, last question: if people are interested in getting tattooed by you, what's the process? What's your vetting process for choosing tattoos? How should they get in touch with you?
If you want to
What
get
kind of wait list should they look at?
I mean, I'm booked till January. I think I don't book out more than like 8 months at a time. Yeah, I try to keep it at 6. Sometimes it kind of goes over, but I try to cap it off at 6. If you want to get a tattoo from me, you can email Tye@facesinthedark.com. The vetting process is kind of it's kind of weird, circumstantial. You know what I mean?
No, I understand.
Depends on what I want to do at the time.
Yep.
This next year, 2019, I really just want to, the rest of this year and the next year, I just want to focus on more portraits. You know, I kind of feel like I got stuck into being the black and gray guy. And I didn't want to be the black and gray guy. I wanted to be the portrait guy. Okay. You know? So yeah, I mean, I feel like portraits are what brought me to the game. You know, like what got me recognition, made me who I am. So I'm going to go back to that and really focus on that again.
Okay. Well, cool. I know you're going to go grab dinner, so I appreciate you sitting down and talk with
Absolutely,
us. We
man.
appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
and we are big fans of your work. And if anybody's interested in following Tye, your Instagram is
Tye Harris.
There you go. Go and follow him on Instagram. Thank you very much.